So far, all of our properties have been strings, to and from both strings. But that's not the only type of data we can pass. We can do strings, but we can also pass things like numbers and booleans and arrays even, using those curly braces that we've seen before. So we embed a JS expression, and that allows us to pass other data types. So let's try it out. Over in our index, I've made a copy, so I'm working in a different folder, but everything is exactly the same. And if I do num equals 3 in quotes, I'm passing the string 3. But if I want the number 3, like that, I need those curly braces. Also, once we get to this point where things get a little longer, what a lot of people like to do is start indenting and adding in line breaks like this. And this is super normal because often there are a lot of props and things that take up a lot of space. We'll pass functions down, you'll see that later, and it can go pretty long horizontally, so it's better to break it up in my opinion. Let's just focus on one hello component for now, and we'll pass a number, set it equal to 3, and let's do something stupid like data, and pass that as an array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's go check it out over here. Oh, well, that was stupid. We're not doing anything with it. So let's begin by just console.logging this.props again. Head back over here, and now you can see inside of props, we have from a string Paul to a string Ringo, and then num is an actual number 3, data is an array. So those braces make a really big difference. For example, around the number, if we just did 3, and we go back here, you'll see that num is the string 3. And it wouldn't work if you just tried this. We get an error. It doesn't know how to parse that. So we either do a string or we do brackets. Okay? So we've seen how to do numbers, strings, arrays. What about booleans? So we could just do something like is funny. It makes no sense really, but is funny. We can't just say true or false like that. We could do this, is funny is true. Over here, you'll see that it shows up as a boolean, true, or we could set it to false. But we can also do this, where we just write is funny. And you'll see over here in our props, is funny is set to true. So that's another way of passing a true value. Okay? Otherwise, let's play around a bit now. Let's get rid of data. And instead of num, let's say that I want to add some exclamation points afterwards. And we want to be able to specify how many. So let's call this property, instead of num, let's go with bangs. Exclamation points was a bit long, maybe enthusiasm, excitement, energy, but bangs for us, let's go with 4. 4 bangs. Then over here, what we're going to do is add 4 bangs. So the simplest way, or one way of doing it, is to make a variable. So I'll call our variable bangs equals this.props.bangs. That's just going to give us a number. So instead of that, there's a method that we can use in JavaScript called repeat. And we call it on a string, and then we pass in a number. So we're going to pass in this.props.bangs. Now this will only work if we do pass in bangs. So we don't have any backup in case, like earlier, we had 2 hello components and one of them didn't have bangs. It wouldn't necessarily break things, but it could lead to unexpected behaviors. Okay, so let bangs equals exclamation point dot repeat this dot props dot bangs, and then over here, we'll just add in after the fact bangs, which is a variable, and save. And there we go. So now we have hi Ringo from Paul with 4 exclamation points. And we could then come down here, duplicate this, make another hello component to Brittany from, let's say, Adele, and this one has 10. And now we have 10 exclamation points. Okay, so that's using a number. The last thing I want to talk about is if we want to embed a value as an attribute. So let's say we pass an image source. Let's just go with image like this. And we're going to find a URL to pass in for an image. And for simplicity's sake, let's focus on one component. So I found a URL. It's really long and annoying for an image. We can put any URL in there. And this is supposed to go along with our hello component as a little, let's say it's like an e-card, a little greeting. So in our hello.js, we're now going to add an image in here. So we want an image tag. So the first thing I would do is probably wrap this whole thing in a paragraph tag inside of our div, like this. And then below that or above, it's up to us, we'll add our image tag. So image is a string coming in props. So we want to access this.props.image, but we need to set it to the source of this image. And to do that, we need to specify with those JavaScript brackets, this.props.img. And we save. Take a look over here. We haven't talked about CSS yet and how we incorporate that into our components. So we have a massive image, but that's okay. It's just a demonstration here. It makes for a more dramatic effect. There we go. What a cute image. Who picked that? Okay, so we've now seen how to pass various types of data: numbers, booleans, strings, arrays. So I'll stop here for now.